It was very important for us to find the balance between playable physics and realism.
Hey guys, Konga here, and today we're going to be doing more tactic talks. You guys seem to really be enjoying this series. So today we're going to be talking about heavy tanks, the stereotypical heavy tank. I'm not talking about 113s, W711-5As, or IS-7s, though all those tanks can play these roles. I'm talking about the more slow lumbering heavy tanks, like the IS-4, the Super Conqueror, the FE-205B, the E-100, the Mouse, the Panzerkampfwagen 7. Those tanks specifically for this one. I will have an assault heavy tank tactic talk eventually. Right now we're talking about the stereotypical heavy tanks, and once again we're gonna split this into four kind of roles per game. Okay, four things you want to do in the game. Of course there's more than that, you can do more things, but we're gonna dissect each and every one. The first one is survey. Okay, right at the start of the game, take a look at your minimap, take a look at the team list, and just figure out what's on the other team. You know, do you have a heavy advantage? Do you have a medium advantage? Do you have a tank destroyer advantage? Is there artillery? What tier is it? How many top tiers are there? Are you top tier? Are you bottom tier? Are you mid tier? You know, that kind of thing. Figure that out, and then go from there. Your heavy tanks, guys, if you're playing the heavy tank, you have to be the smartest player in the game. Not necessarily you have to be the smartest, but you have to think harder than everyone else. Okay, if you're in a light tank, you kind of just go with the flow, you know. Oh, this isn't going very well, I'll just go relocate. You can do that because you're fast enough. Same thing with the medium tank. The map is yours, you can do what you want. You can relocate if you need to. You can go elsewhere, you know. It's like, oh, we're losing this flank, you can just run away. Not a heavy tank. You have to decide at the start of a game where you want to go and what you want to do. And there are games like this one you're going to see in the background where there is nothing you can do. I noticed there's one artillery, and so I figured I can go hold down here, I can hold them here, and hopefully we can win this game. However, even though most of their team is in front of me, we're gonna lose the other flank somehow, some way. It's just how it goes, and you know, sometimes you just do not have a say. And I keep having people in my comment section when I make videos like this say, you know, you don't actually have a say in the game already decides who's gonna win from the start. Really. Here's a screenshot of my games played since the 22nd, and as you can see, the first 38 battles, we had a nice 78.95% win rate, and then the 23rd through the 25th, we had a 95.24% win rate with 21 games, 20 wins, and then on Christmas and yesterday, we had a 92% win rate with 13 battles and 12 wins. So please, not most of you do this. In fact, a small minority of you do this, because if you're here watching this, you're probably trying to get better, trying to learn anyway. But some of you try to make excuses for yourself. No, there is no excuse. You're not going to have games like this one you're going to see in the background every single time where your team is just full potato, okay? That's not going to happen. In fact, majority of the games, you can have a positive role. I mean, as you could see, I've lost 2 games in the last 3 days. 4 days, actually. So, you know, it's doable, okay? You can have a huge impact on the game, you know. And if you notice my stats, my W8, it was a little bit lower than normal, but I still only lost 1. It's because I was kind of focusing on winning because it was string theory, so I was putting my whole effort into winning the game, going where I needed to go, shooting what I needed to shoot, holding where I needed to hold, pushing where I needed to push, and just tracking who I needed to track, you know, that kind of thing. I wanted to make sure I was a big impact on the game, even if I wasn't doing, you know, a lot of damage. I wanted to make sure I was winning the games. And this game, I mean, already we're on a map which is open. Artillery will shoot you at every single angle. It's corridor, but there's no cover. So we're at a huge disadvantage already. And to top it all off, it's, well, it's a winter map, a blizzard map, an extreme weather map. So we can't see anything in front of us. They have to be directly on top of us for us to see them. So already we're at a huge disadvantage. And the team is just dead. We didn't have effective scouts. Our scout, I think, died right off the bat. Their scout has not. Their scout has been harassing the entire game. And on a map like this, it does come down to who has the better light tanks. And in this case, it was them. They had the better light tanks. And because of that, well, we lose the game. I wanted to show this game just because I wanted to say it's true. You cannot win every single game. Okay, you can't. Like, look at that. Look at that team. That's one of the worst teams I've seen. Like, this would probably be in my top 20 of worst teams I've ever seen. And, you know, I have almost 40,000 games, so that's a... yeah, that's a special team, for sure. So what do you do if you have a team like that? Well, this replay, hopefully, explains that a little more. I noticed right off the bat, we have a huge heavy tank advantage. And they have a huge mobility advantage. And there is no artillery. And I'm going, okay, I'm going to go left. I want to push with the heavies. And then I change my mind. Step number 1, survey. If you're in your heavy tank, you have to survey. You have to be the smartest tank, okay? You have to be the smartest player, or at least think, okay? I said this already, but if you're in a medium tank or a light tank, as soon as you learn how to play them, they're really, really easy. You can adapt to the battle anytime it changes. Really, really, really easy. They're mediums and lights, once you learn them, they're really easy and don't require much thought to play at all. Hence why a lot of super unicums play them. And they stay away from heavies, because heavy tanks require the most knowledge of the game. Where do I need to angle? Who do I need to angle to? How much do I need to angle? How much side armor do I have? How much roof armor do I have? Can I go hold down here? How much gun depression do I have? Where do I need to go to hold the team? Where do I need to go to push a flank? Should I push the flank now? Should I hold the flank now? This guy's shooting premium. How should I deal with that? All these things have to go through your mind when you're playing a heavy tank. And you don't need to worry about most of those when you're in your medium tank. You're like, oh, the guy's not looking at me. I'm going to shoot him. Oh, he is looking at me. I'm just going to move on. Oh, it's a heavy tank. I'm just going to press A. You know, that's how you play medium tank. When you're playing a heavy, like I said, you need to think a whole lot more. And so that's what we're doing. I've decided to go to this flank instead. I know I'm probably going to die. I was getting into this game and I said, you know what? I really want my string theory to continue. I'm going to play this game. I wanted to catch up to this chisel, but then I realized there's no possible way I'm going to catch up to that chisel. This probably isn't a good idea. And if I keep pushing, my team isn't going to have shots on them. Guys, you're going to have games, and in fact most games you're going to have, where you have heavy tanks camping the base or sniping. You're going to have tank destroyers behind you sniping. That's, you know, a tank destroyer's job is to support. A heavy tank's job is to be in the front. Why let your heavy tanks who don't know what they're doing play no role? Why allow your dumb heavy tanks who are going to snipe, why allow them to be hindrances? Use them, okay? I realize if I continue to push, my team is not going to have any shots as soon as we get pushed. So I've decided to fall back, and this is where I'm going to hold. This is step 3, okay? So we have surveyed, then we've committed. This is the flank we've committed to because we're too slow to leave. And then we're going to hold. And then once you're done holding, you want to push. You want to advance. You know, take the fight to the enemy team. Of course, holding and pushing can be done out of order. You can push before you hold. Like, let's say you want to get to a position before the enemy. You can do that, of course. But for this replay, this instance, we're going to hold first before we push. And as you can see, did you see that shot fired from the left? That was an IS-7. He is on our left. He is actually supporting us. He is up on the hill, and he is going to be putting shots in. And unfortunately, he doesn't have much map awareness. In fact, he doesn't really have any at all. And most of my team does not have any map awareness this game. We're going to crush the enemy team. Not on this flank. On this flank, we're going to... My shell actually came out the left side of my tank. You would think I would underlead that, but I didn't. Apparently, I overled that. But, you know, that's just World of Tanks. Mercenaries for you right now. And then we shoot the rock. But that's okay. I just want to hold these guys. Look at that. Look at that. We're up by 3 tanks now. Okay? We just need to hold as long as we possibly can. It's me and this other guy. I've got tanks behind me who are putting shots in. They haven't really hit anything yet, but that's because it's a T-44 and an IS-7. And, but they're going to do their best. This T-57 Heavy is doing the right thing. He ran right past me. He's going straight for my Super Conqueror. He puts a shell into me, and he's actually got another one, and he puts it into me again, unfortunately. But we're going to go after him, and we're going to try to get into a position where my team now have shots, because this rock is kind of in the way, so I'm going to be moving down here. Hopefully my team can start putting shells in. We put another shell in the 57 Heavy. Can we finish off the 57 Heavy before we die? He's really low on health. We are now a one-shot. Can we get it off? Yes, we can. He goes down, and we get finished off by the 4005. But as you can see, my team are putting shots in. We're getting spotted target hits. Unfortunately, like I said, it's a T-44 and an IS-7. There's another hit, more assist damage to be had. And clearly you can see that we're going to lose the base. I knew for a fact we were going to lose the base. So I figured maybe we can hold them off long enough for our team to fall back or capture the base. However, not a single person on my team has decided what they want to do. RI-7 actually has decided. He's decided he wants to sit here. RT-44 has decided. He's also decided he wants to sit here. Our 2 tank destroyers have decided. They also decided that they want to sit here. It's a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. You get these teams, and there's nothing you can do. What could I have done differently? I could have fallen back further to my base, like pretty much sat in my base, but even then I don't think it would have worked. Reason being is because then I wouldn't have spotted them until they were right on top of me, and my Conqueror would have died a whole lot sooner, and they would have just won the base faster. So this is another one of those games where you have no say, even though you do everything right. And I just wanted to get these 2 examples out there quickly just to show you that even if you do everything right, sometimes you have no say in the game. And that again is why a lot of Super Unicums don't play heavy tanks, is because they're lazy. They're not up for the challenge. They just want to farm their WN8, farm their win rate, whatever they want to farm, and so they stay away from heavy tanks. Now, I was really frustrated after that game. I really was. But I was like, what does my team want me to do? I didn't do much damage, but I did pave the way for the team to win. All they needed to do was cap or fall back, but they did neither. So then I see this game. And right away you notice we have a huge heavy advantage. Once again, there's no artillery, and it's encounter. I've surveyed, and now I'm going to commit. And this one is fairly obvious. I'm going to go to the base. There's 2 ways into the base, their side, my side. If I can win one side, then we don't have to worry about it anymore. Well, what I'm trying to say is if there's 2 ways in somewhere, if you can win one side, then you can turn around and deal with the other. And so that's what I want to do, is I want to push into the base, kill whatever's in front of me, and then we can turn around and deal with whatever's behind us. Because, yet again, I have a feeling that their more mobile tanks are going to win the opposite flank. So this is going to be pretty much the same thing that's going to happen that happened the other time, except this time I'm not going to go off by myself with a Super Conqueror and a Chisel to try to hold off their more mobile tanks. This time I've decided, because there's a base I can defend with on the heavy flank, I'm going to go to the heavy flank. On the other map, Karelia, there was no base to defend by pushing the other flank. Okay, I had 2 flanks pretty much to choose from, and I had to choose the one where I thought I could protect the base longer. This one, because the base is on a flank, we can just go to that flank and hold it, and that's what we're going to do, and it makes it a whole lot easier. This is not going to be the last replay because I want to show one where there are 2 bases. I don't want to just do an encounter one, because an encounter one is fairly obvious. Survey, commit, hold, push. That's what we're going to do here. We surveyed, we have a huge heavy tank advantage, we committed, we're going to the flank where I think we're going to have, do the most work, and then we're going to hold. Why do you have to commit in a heavy tank? Clone guy, why do you have to commit in a heavy tank, you may be asking? Well, it's because you're so slow. A 113, IS-7, WZ-111, 5A, AMX-50B, tanks like that, they're not super slow. You can run away from a flank in those. You can't do it so much in other heavy tanks because you're too slow. That, once again, is why I keep emphasizing the fact that you have to be really smart in these things. Because once you make a decision, you're pretty much stuck there. And, there's nothing you can do about it. You can run if you want to. You could try to, but you might be too slow. You're going to get shot in the back if you try. You can hold, but perhaps you get overwhelmed and killed. There might be nobody here, and now you are too slow to get to the other flank, and you'll lose. That's why you have to really pay attention. Really pay attention at the start of the game to both team setups. How many heavy tanks do they have? How many medium tanks do they have? How many tank destroyers do they have? Really pay attention to that. And it's going to help you out a whole lot. Because you really only have one shot. So you better make it count. Now, we're in the FE215B. It's very accurate gun. Very accurate gun. But, the gun is trollless a little bit. 2 shots on the move at that one tank. The sharpshooter we missed, and then we missed that one. That was my own fault. But it's gonna troll us a whole lot more because update 4.12. Like, watch this. Ready? It goes low, and I feel in update 4.12 when you fire a shot and it misses, and then you miss again, it goes to the exact same spot. Is that just me? Ready? Same exact spot. It went the exact same spot in the circle. Low again. It's like what? But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But this is where we're going to sit. And I've mentioned this in the last game. If you're going to hold in a position, and then that one hits, really. Hold in a position where your team can cover you. This game right here doesn't really matter so much. Weak spot, by the way. Just because my whole team is here. If I push too far ahead, I would die. Okay, and my team wouldn't be able to cover me. It's as simple as that. And if I was too far back, I wouldn't be able to support them. You need to find a balance. You need to find a position where you can hold, and your team can cover you or support you or whatever it is they do. That's what you need to do. We've loaded up premium rounds. We loaded them up for the Type 5, but then we shot a Sheridan, then we shot a Waffle. It's just how it works. You know, you load a premium round, and then you shoot the least heavily armored tanks in the game. Then we bounce a shell from this guy who's got the big gun, and then he switched to heat versus all these heavies. I don't know why he didn't just stay with HE. The heat doesn't have high pen on that, but you know, it is what it is, so be it. If he had HE, he might have been able to splash my roof and killed me, but he didn't. We still have APCR loaded. I've decided to keep it loaded just for this VK, just in case he decides to turn and fight me frontally, because, well, those things have a lot of armor, and, you know, I don't really want to fight him without APCR, though we really don't need it. He's outnumbered by a lot. I don't know why I didn't just switch, and then we foolishly auto-lock that while he's angled, go into his drive wheel, and do no damage. And that's it. That's the game. This is the game. It's over. The enemy team wins the other flank, but it's too late. Well, our team turns around and they're able to deal with them from the front, and then a couple of our tanks flank around and we win the game. Simple as that. And I just drive around the rest of the time because I only see 2 people spot on the other side. I wanted to see if maybe they're going to hold over here. They weren't. I was wrong, and we get nothing more. Let's take a look at the end anyway. This was during my time grinding for the Chisel. So actually this was today. I played the IS-4 just because I wanted to play it. But the FE2 and 5B and then the Super Conk we're going to play next was for the Chisel contract. And, you know, I wanted to get my ×2s out of them. 3600, we did find another shot later in the game, but I didn't think it was important enough to really show it. It was just a shot I had on the side of it. Yeah, Panzer E100 at the end right before he died. Simple as that. And I drove around for 4 minutes before we got to him anyway. But there it is. You know, we win. We get the steel wall, 2900 damage. We don't score top. I think our team could have probably won without us anyway, but I wanted to show that one off anyway. This final one is on Pilsen. I think this one you're going to learn the most from. Look at those team lists. They have a huge heavy tank advantage. Right away I thought to myself, do I want to go to the medium flank? Or do I want to go to the heavy flank? And I decided we're going to go to the heavy flank and we're going to hold. That is the play for this one. I think this position that guy just pinged is a really good spot. We can side scrape that, and then if we start to lose it, we can fall back to a little bit on my left. You see that mound on my left? And we can go haul down there, and then we can hold as they advance up, and we can keep falling back from there. And we'll have support from tanks behind us. They usually sit in the corner on my left, way on my left. You see where that medium is? They usually sit there, and they'll have shots. So I'm already planning out where I want to go if I have to, you know, fall back. Though I can't really leave the flank. Like I said, this is us committing. This is the flank I've chosen. I can't really switch to the other flank. I'm too slow for that. So this is where we're going to hold. And then, you know, I'll fall back along this flank if I have to and find positions where my team can still put shots in. These are things you have to think of in your heavy tanks. Okay, can my team shoot back, you know? Side scraping here is perfect because my team is going to be fighting here. This is a normal brawl location. We ammo racked the E5 somehow, even though we were aiming at his drive wheel. We don't actually hit his drive wheel. Not sure how that happens, but it is what it is. Aim at that guy's tracks. We missed his tracks, and I think we hit the we hit the E5's tracks. I thought it was the Super Conqueror's tracks. We aimed at the IS-4's tracks. What looked like went through the Super Conqueror's tracks, but in reality we hit the E5's tracks. Alright, really weird there. So, but yeah, anyway, we are holding. So we've already surveyed, then we've committed, and now we're holding. And what's the last step? It's advancing. And advancing is the trickiest part. You really have to think, when is the right time to advance? Should I advance? Maybe perhaps it's a game where you need to fall back. I don't know. Like I said, it is so important in your heavy tanks to make these decisions, and you have to be right. If you're wrong, you're going to die for nothing. And just like that T-32A did. He pushed prematurely. He pushed without knowing what was in the town. He ran into a Sheridan and he got killed for it. There. Super Conqueror died. Now is my time to push. I know the Sheridan is going to be on my right. I don't know exactly where he's going to be, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look that way in case he is, so I can shoot him on my way by. My tanks realize that it's time to push too, and they're pushing with me. Guys, you are such a huge influence on your team. When you make a push, a lot of the times your team will push with you. And then you get this momentum swing going your way, and your team follows you. and they start winning, and then they continue the push, and you got to make sure you're supporting them now. So it goes back and forth, you know, it goes both ways. If you're going to make a push, a lot of the times your team is going to support you. Even if they're not that good at it, they're still going to try to support you most of the time. And then if your team is making the same kind of thing, you need to support them, okay? And that's how you're going to win. And that's how we're going to win this game right here. Is the scores are really, really close. We were just down a tank, and then we get up a tank, or should I say we tied it back up, but now we're down a tank again. And do you see this T-54? We're going to talk about how to play bottom tier tanks or low tier tanks in a future video. And he's going to play exactly how I would play. He's making the push. He's like, you know what? This Super Conqueror is more important than me. I'll take the hits, and he'll follow me. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's making the play I should have been making, which was making the push on that E5, should I say, and taking the hits. But instead, this T-54 decided to do it himself and save me some hit points. So great play by him, definitely as a low-tier tank to, you know, really help us win this game. Mid-tier, really, but still lower than me. So he is technically a low-tier tank. He gets tracked. We track him again. Boom. Death Star finishes him off. He goes down. Easy kill, and suddenly we're up on kills by 1. And we're going to continue. Right now, I've decided, okay, we're going back to holding. I want to really survey where everyone is. You know, got to make sure I don't just roll out and lose all my health or get ammo wrecked or something like that. The IS-4 is dead. Okay, that guy fired. I didn't want to shoot him in my lower plate while his belly side up. So now I'm going to make the push. And here it is. This is the push. We're going to, you know, fire shot on the move. May as well. It's a slim shot, but you may as well take it, right? Like, what do you have to lose? Just ammo. That's all you have to lose. And now we're going to be loaded. And I make a little bit of a mistake here, guys. Yeah, I noticed that heavy tank in front of me, but I decided I want to shoot this guy. You know, I don't know if this was the right play or the wrong play. I kind of decided I want to get rid of him before I focus on the 705A. But then I realized, you know what, if I just sat here to begin with, I could shoot this guy without having to worry about the T-44. But now we have a Sheridan shooting us. He bounces off and already appears in front of us. And just like last game, you know, first shell. Oh, nice. And then after that, well, it's it's update 4.12. Goes low. Okay, so be it. Let's see. Is this shot going to go low again? Let's find out. There he is. No, that one actually went high. So my theory on the shells, you know, going the same spot clearly is wrong. So the heavy tank has moved on. Actually, the heavy tank is dead, so we're going to switch our attention back to this guy. Put a shell into him. We have one more standard shell left. We fired off a few shots, missed a few shots, tracked a few shots, bounced a few shots. There's another bounce. I'm not sure how that one went under his tank and only hit the bottom of his tracks and not, you know, his hull. But it did, so be it. We're down to APCR now, and we have a nice shot on this guy, and we're making a push. I mean, now it's just going to be cleaning up. I mean, the scores are still... Well, the scores were just close a moment ago. Now they're not that close. Once we kill this guy, it's pretty much... The game is pretty much secured. But I think we've made our points. You know, we held when we needed to, and then we pushed when we needed to. And that's really what you got to do in your heavy tanks. You have to survey the battlefield, commit to a flank, hold the flank. That's your flank. You are responsible for that flank. And then push the flank when you feel you need to. Maybe you have to push earlier than normal. Maybe you have to push first, then hold later. I don't know. Whatever you feel is the better way to do it. And that's what you need to do. And yet again, we're going to drive around for a little while and not get to the fight in time. So I'm going to wrap this video up. TVP has the autoloader. He finishes off the Leopard prototype. And we win the game. Death Star shoots me in the back of the turret. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, sure. Sure, bud. Sure. Whatever you want. But the game's over. Let's see how well we did in that game. Shizzle contract. Nice. I'm trying to get that going. Like, oof, I've only got 23 days left, and I'm not even halfway done with the last stage. That's a little bit scary. That's scary indeed. But 5,800 damage, 800 assisted damage. Only a bit of damage blocked, 1,500. But we didn't need to actually block that much because, you know, the enemy team didn't really shoot me. And so I used that to my advantage by just pushing them. Like, all right, you're not going to shoot me? Well, I'm going to punish you for that. And we did. And that's why we won that game. Would we have lost without my influence? Heck yes, we would have. The reason being is because, well, we were down tanks throughout the game. We were seesawing back and forth the entire time. Meaning if we did not do 6,000 damage, we would have lost that game. And it was only because we held until we didn't need to anymore. We held until we noticed we could advance. And we did. Once that Super Conqueror on the enemy team died, I knew we had the advantage, and I pushed it. I pushed our advantage. Once you have an advantage, guys, take it. As soon as, you know, you have momentum, you have to keep it going. If you let the momentum stop, and then the momentum swings to the other side, and the enemy team, you know, keeps their momentum flowing, you lose the game. Don't let that happen. Keep your momentum flowing. Create your own momentum if you have to. And win the games in your heavy tanks, guys. It's not all about blocking damage, as you saw those games. We didn't really block too much. The FE215B was a decent amount of damage we blocked, but the Super Conqueror, we didn't. We kind of just played our tank strengths. In fact, we could have done that play we did in the IS-4. We could have done it in the E5. We could have done it in the FE215B or the E100. It wasn't because we were in a Super Conqueror. It was just because we timed the push perfectly. Or, not necessarily perfectly, but at the right time. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, slap that like button. Comment, subscribe. Make sure you go check out SpaceBANDIT, GotADingy's YouTube's links in the description below. And join me later today, I think around 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not exactly sure exactly when I'm going to start. I'm going to be streaming on Twitch with Jay's Silent Boom. We're going to be playing the Christmas tank mode, probably just for an hour. It's just going to be a little thing, so that's why it's only going to be on Twitch. If, you know, we have some games, and maybe I'll move it to YouTube. But that's it. Take care, everyone, and peace out.